talking UTEP Miners today here on Sharpen the Point. Last season, 3-9. This is going to be their final year in Conference USA before moving to the Mountain West. Scotty Walden enters his second season as head coach. He brings in two new coordinators. Offensive coordinator Mark Calla, he was the TCU quarterback coach, and Bobby Daly, he was the Montana State defensive coordinator. That was a quality unit the last couple of years. Quarterback-wise, Skylar Locklear is going to return after a mostly poor season where he showed some flashes of capability against the likes of Kennesaw State with 327-4 and Southern Utah at 295-1, but was otherwise ill-equipped to handle the role placed upon him. He has reasonable enough mobility to assist him in escaping the pocket to gain added time and yardage. He looked poised all spring in the pocket. He capped it off with a really nice spring game, going 14 of 17 for 145-1. He did have an interception there, though, and that was a nice end to his spring. We really think that was well done. It's his job's not certain, but it looks very promising at the moment. Now, behind him is all the buzz. You have former five-star top recruit Malachi Nelson. He's entered this picture after stops at USC and Boise State. Recruiters thought the talent was there. Head coaches thought the talent was there, specifically Lincoln Riley, for him to shine at any number of levels, but specifically at this level of competition. There's just questions abound after it seemed an almost certainty that he would beat out a limited quarterback a year ago in Maddox Madsen to win the Boise State job after dropping down from the Pac-12, and he ended up barely seeing the field. So it's particularly concerning given his spring game performance where he was 12 of 24 for 110 yards and an interception. I just don't think he is the player we thought he was. That could be he played with certain players in high school that made him look better. Could be the COVID situation where recruiting got thrown on its head for a little bit. Running back wise, they lose the top two rushers in Javon Jackson and Ezel Jolly to the portal. It's going to be a fierce competition to see who gets the most reps at the position. Ashton Emery, Marquez Taylor, specifically transfer Hassan Wilson from Charlotte, they're battling for the opportunity. Given the experience and success in the spring, I expect Wilson to have the leg up, though the others have more experience in this actual system, and they could certainly play roles going forward as well. Pass catcher-wise, it's the room with the least amount of turnover. They bring back Cam Thomas, Kenny Odom, and Jaden Smith. They all return to their prominent roles. Odom provided the biggest spark to the group a year ago, leading the team with 750 yards, 8 touchdowns. Each is going to look to improve upon the numbers they had from a year ago. It's a decent receiving unit. I really feel confident in that as well. Marcus Torres had a nice spring. He's going to look to rotate in when most of these guys need a breather, but that's your top three, certainly. Along the offensive line, 3 starters are going to return from a year ago. The problem is that the crucial left tackle position was vacated. Mark Robinson, he comes up from the NAIA level. He's going to be expected to fill the hole at left tackle left by Isaiah Wright. And outside of Robinson, it's pretty much going to be a very experienced unit. I expect 4 seniors to start. That's going to lead to some problems next season, but those are off-season concerns for a year from now. Along the defensive line, like all the rest of the G5, it's easier kind of to list who returns than it is to speak on the departures, as this room got fully turned over. Fortunately for the Miners is Katie Johnson got given an extra year of eligibility, but all conference players Maurice Westmoreland goes to Tulane, Kyron Duon goes to Oklahoma State. They're going to be sorely missed as they were a heck of a player. The edge pressure is really going to fall upon Derek Burns, who comes in from New Mexico State, and Shaquan Bowser, who comes from the JUCO ranks. They each impressed in the spring, as did Elijah Baldwin. He's made significant strides from a year ago, and they're going to need to replace the talent that has walked out the door. Linebacker-wise, returner Stratton Schufelt, he made an impact a year ago in his freshman season. He's a budding star. It's sad to say, but he's likely to leave after this season because he was a top recruit in the state of New Mexico. He looks like a future stalwart at the position, and that future is clearly now with him manning the middle of this defense. He's going to be joined by returning starter Nate Diamond and a transfer in Jaden Wilson, who comes from New Mexico. They're going to form a really quality trio at this second level. It's definitely the strength of the defense for me. The secondary was also hit hard by the portal with 10 guys departing. Free safety Corey Chapman graduated as well. Projected starting corner Jalen Shelton, his status is up in the air following some legal issues. I'm not going to delve into those. Neil Campbell, he was an NAIA All-American. He's going to man one starting corner spot. You have to have confidence in him coming up this level. He's looked so good previously. Returners Xavier Smith, Lance Russell, and Jalen Shelton should see expanded roles from a year ago, and they provide at least some experience for a group that is clearly lacking depth at the moment. Looking at the schedule and outlook, everybody's going to want to talk about Malachi Nelson, and mentioned him earlier. I just don't think he is who people thought he was. He's not going to be the savior for this program that you would hope he is. He's got more on paper value than he does real life value, and you could see that in the spring. The offense should be serviceable, if not better than a year ago. The defense looks to be the biggest weakness, although they do have a very nice strength in the linebacker unit, specifically with Stratton. So they could very well hemorrhage points while not being capable to put up enough, given their lack of explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball. They don't typically have these game-breaking wide receivers. They're good quality players. They're just not going to hit you quick for touchdowns. They start out the season at Utah State. That is tough. That's a loss. But then you get a soft landing spot with UT Martin. You get a nice win there. You're 1-1 coming out. But then now you get at Texas. That's just a full bully beatdown. Also hoping for running the clock in the fourth quarter. Just get out of there. Try to get out as healthy as possible. Then you get ULM. That's a tough game. That program turned around super quick under that new coaching staff. And that's a likely loss there. That's a quality team. It's an underrated team. Louisiana Tech, that's a competitive game. I feel like that's a coin flip. It feels uncomfortable, but it's a coin flip. Liberty, that's a loss. At Sam Houston, I would lean loss, although there's a ton of turnover there. It's more coin flip than guaranteed loss like it would have been a year ago. At Kennesaw, I'm going to lean win. That team has got a lot of issues, and they're going to need to address before they can start getting into the middle of this Conference USA. Jacksonville State, I'm going to lean loss as well. They have a ton of turnover, though. Don't be surprised if you hang in that game. At Missouri State, I think this is the better of the two newcomers to the league. That's a coin flip. I'm going to lean win. You should win. Expect to win. But it's still a dangerous game on the road. New Mexico State, you should win that game. They're going to be questionable. At Delaware, nice end to the season, soft landing here. Lean win. It's going to be a win. On the road makes it questionable somewhat, but you got to feel that you should take care of business there. I think they're definitely the worst of the two between them and Missouri State. This season could go a number of ways. It's just most are not extremely positive, as it feels like there's really only one guaranteed win on the schedule. 1-3 in the non-con should be expected. And then you have the potential capability to go 4-4 in conference play. And that feels like it happens if everything breaks right, though. They're going to play a lot of coin flip games. An improvement on last season's 3-win total should be viewed as a step in the right direction. Even if it does not lead to a bowl game this season, they're clearly building something here.